Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode. I'm so excited you are here. I am starting something a little bit different over the next 6 weeks. So, if you've just tuned in, this isn't typically what I do on the podcast, but I figured this might be the best way that I can help. So, I have been doing a series on burnout over the last 2 weeks, and I have been talking more about kind of what causes burnout and my own experiences with trying to find more joy and more space and how all of our thoughts get in the way. I know pretty much everybody at this point suffers from some aspect of burnout. And I was thinking about how to continue this series. And I recently did a 6-week course in my Quitter Club, my membership. It is my paid membership that I no longer am admitting new students into. And this course really was my dwindling down everything that I thought is important for burnout into 6 kind of steps, 6 pillars that I think you really need to understand if you're going to help yourself get out of that state. And so I was thinking about what to do next for the podcast, and I figured why not just share that curriculum, that course? Why not put it on the podcast to help more people? And so that's what I'm going to do over the next 6 weeks is I'm going to share each week the class that I did in the Quitter Club. And so it's not the typical audio or the typical thing that you hear from me. I will come back to do regular podcasts after this, but I figure that this might be the best way that I can help you because it provides really actionable tips and tricks and worksheets and things that you can work on in order to get out of the constant grind that we're all in. I will say this. Please excuse the quality of the audio. During this time, which was unfortunate for me, I didn't realize that I had a broken microphone. And so it isn't the same quality as a lot of the podcasts are, or as actually most of my classes in the Quitter Club are. But I kind of went back and forth of like, do I want to share it because it doesn't sound the best? But I figured that the content is worth it. And so you're going to have to bear with me that it's not the best audio quality, but it's good enough. And that's what we are here to do. Actually, one of the pillars is B- work, like doing things that aren't perfect. And I figured, what a better way than starting it off by showing you that we can put out work that's not perfect and still help people. So we're going to start with that series over the next 6 weeks. The first week is an audit. And I really hope that you don't just listen, but you actually do it. I know a lot of you might be listening on a drive. I get that. But come back to this and actually do the exercises because they are very eye-opening. It is a very stark reality that a lot of us haven't faced. So I hope you enjoyed this series. If you do, let me know. I have been thinking about doing more things like this. Do I take out other master classes that I've had and put on the podcast? If it's too much and you're like, no, I just want you to talk to us the way you used to on the podcast, let me know that too. I'm definitely open to suggestions of how to take the podcast in different directions. But for now, I figured that this would be helpful. And so we're going to do this 6-week Burnout Breakthrough Accelerator course on the podcast. And we're going to start with week 1. So I hope you enjoy. Hello, my friends. Welcome to our first class of the Burnout Breakthrough Accelerator. I'm so excited for this series. What it's going to be, what I kind of thought of when I was coming up with this is I had sat down to think about like, what would every person that I wanted to like get through breakout as quickly as possible, what are the key things that they had to focus on in order to be able to get themselves out without overhauling everything, without like quitting their job or like regardless of where they're at in their life, regardless of what job they have, like what are the key pillars that they need to kind of work on, not master, not like have to be perfect, but just make a dent in order to start seeing some real change. And I had come up with these 6 steps that I really think shouldn't take all that much time, but they're not easy. Some of them, they're going to require practice. We're not going to be perfect at it. We're going to try things. If you do these things, you will see a difference in the way that you approach your life, in the way that you feel in your life. And I know that every one of us is burned out. I'm burned out. I teach this stuff and I constantly these things. And I think that living in a world where we're inundated with information and bad news, and we are constantly told to hustle, and our worth is tied into how much we do, and we are trying to be everything for everyone, it is impossible not to drive into the ground. And so the principles and the kind of the exercises I'm going to teach you are going to help us take a little bit of that back to like stop giving so much of ourselves willingly to a system that's trying to kill us, right? Is to kind of put up a fight and say like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And so the lessons that I prepared are meant to be short. I'm hoping that every week this will be a 15 to 30-minute rant and exercise thing. And it will only really take you 15 minutes to do whatever exercise I give you. Obviously, a lot of them is going to be repetitive every day. You're going to have to like practice the thing. But I really don't want to add another to do. I'm so excited to have so many of you here today. If you can't make future ones, no worries. You can listen to it on replay in the private podcast or on Kajabi. I highly suggest you listen to all because they all are important parts and a lot of them build off of each other. And so we're going to just get to like one part today, as kind of I mentioned, and then we'll continue going. Okay. One of the things that we're going to work on as we work on things every week, they're going to fall into categories, right? Because what I've realized with burnout is that it's an and situation. It's two different things. It tends to be that we all are doing too much. Like a lot of our actions are too much. We are all trying to be everything to everybody at work and at home and in our health and in fun and all of this stuff. And some of it is truly just stopping that. Like you have to actually stop doing all the things and accept that you can't do all the things and forgive yourself for not being able to do all the things and deal with the guilt of not doing all of the things. That's going to be one. The other part is mindset, and I like shocker, but like part of it is it doesn't matter how much we're doing. If we're constantly telling ourselves we're not doing enough, or if we're constantly saying we're not doing it good enough, or we're constantly beating ourselves up for what we are doing, that is also burning us out, right? It's not, this is why so many of us might feel utterly exhausted, even if we haven't done that much all day. Because we're running in our mind all day long. So it's like, even if it's a Saturday and I've kind of lounged around, but I'm still just so exhausted because I've gone through my mental to-dos of everything I have to do next week and everything that's going to happen, over the weekend and what I should have cleaned up and what I didn't get to and how terrible I am and all of this other stuff. So these classes over the next 6 weeks are going to be a mix of both like actionable, what are we going to actually stop physically doing, and then mentally, what are we going to like clean up and try to create a little bit more peace and calm in our lives. Okay. So for the first week, it is going to be, I don't know, relatively easy. I don't know I guess it depends on, for each of you, it's good. For some of you, this will be easy. For some of you, this will actually be really difficult, but it shouldn't take that long. And we're going to start with what I call the purge. We're going to go through a self-assessment and we're going to start knocking off things that we are longer going to hold over our own head. Okay, so we're gonna start with kind of the action stuff. Like we're gonna take a self-assessment and intake of everything we are doing, and we are going to get rid of a lot of it. We're gonna purge a lot of it. We're gonna go through it right now together. Okay, and here's the thing: I'm gonna go a little bit faster than I would if I was doing it, doing actual assignment. So you can get started on this as I'm talking through it, but I want you to, after the call, go back and continue to add to it, finish it, keep coming back. Even if you're doing it at home, you might do it in one sitting and then you're going to go onto your life and then you're going to be like, oh, I forgot. I also think I should do this, then this. Okay, go back and keep adding. Because part of this exercise is going to be just to be able to see it in black and white. It is so powerful to just see in black and white. So you want to make sure you write everything down, okay? So what you're going to do, super simple, is you're going to take a piece of paper and we're going to start with different areas in our lives. And we are going to write down everything that we think we should be doing in that area. Okay. Not that you have to do, not that it's a part of your requirement, but that you think you should do. Okay. I don't care if you're not doing it. And I especially want you to include the things that you're not actually doing, but you think you should be doing. Okay. So anything that your brain is like, oh, we really should, we should have organized the office birthday parties this month. Some people didn't get a birthday party. Like any silly thing that is on your mind about that you should do. Okay. So I want you to write out everything you think you should do for work. Now, this is going to obviously include the tasks that you are hired to do. Okay. So all of the weekly, monthly, whatever tasks, the stuff that people expect you to do. But more than that, I want it to include all of the things that you are not paid to do, but you think you still should do. Right? Whether that's, I should reach out to my colleagues more. I should go to lunch more and be more sociable. I should take on initiative and finish this report that my boss wanted. I should lead meetings. I should volunteer for the DEI committee. And you can even do like, I should get there 15 minutes before my time starts. I should stay late so people see me in my office. I should stay until 7. I shouldn't take a lunch break. Like I should always be at my desk. Whatever rules you have for yourself for work, just spend like I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes. What are all of the things that you should do for work? Okay, like I said, I'm gonna kind of move on more quickly because I don't want to take up too much time today, and I want you to be able to do this on your own when you have as much time as you need. So you can continue writing, but yeah, Arlette says just the list of categories that I have in the PDF is exhausting. It really is. And I want you to see, like, it's just so jarring to see. Okay, but we're going to move on. So after you do work, I want you to do all the things that you should do at home. Okay. And I've kind of like lumped this all in. You could do it separately. You could do your list however you want. But that's going to include all of the things you should do for your family. So that could be a spouse, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. That could be for your roommates. That could be for your kids, right? So everything you should do for your kids, which if you have kids is a really long laundry list all in and of itself. Okay. So all the things you should do for your kids, and then all the things you should do for the home. So I should clean the kitchen once a week. I should clean the bathrooms once a week, whatever you're on, whatever schedule on all of the upkeep of the house. And even if, like, I should decorate more, I should make it prettier, I should make it more like inviting. I should use air freshener so it smells better. We all have very strange like, requirements of ourselves. So whatever you think you should do, put it on the list. Okay, that one's likely going to take you till tomorrow. So I'm going to keep moving on and then you're going to come back and refill it. And the next category is going to be what are all the things you're doing for your own physical and mental health? And then after you go through that, I want you to go to the next category and I want you to write down what are all the things that you should do to maintain your friendships or like what you should do for your friendships, extended family. So, in the first part at home, we talked about like your partner and your kids and all the stuff you should do for them. But like, what should you be doing for your elderly parents or for your cousins and aunts and uncles? And like, should you be hosting Thanksgiving and inviting people over once a month and calling that aunt who's alone and other random things that you should be doing? Now, this next category, I have it as like what are all the things you should be doing for your spirituality or your religion if you are a religious person or if you're a spiritual person and you have like, meditating every day or I should be doing a gratitude journal. Another thing you can add to this if you're not, I mean, you could do this. And also another thing is there, I want to create like a catch-all. It's like, maybe it's not spirituality or religion, but is it like personal development to make myself better. Like I should be doing my thought work every week. I was actually just as I'm saying this, I'm like, oh, I should have had a category that says like, what are all the things you should be doing with your money, right? Like, I should go to a financial advisor. I should have my trust set up. I should like, what are like the whole point of this is to understand how much you're holding in your head, the requirements that you have for yourself that are absurd, right? So you just want to get down. So if I'm saying something and it triggers another category for you, just make another list of all the things that you think you should be doing in that area. And lastly, we're going to add just should I be doing for fun, which just seems like counter, but even that we have requirements. So like that can include hobbies, right? If you think like, oh, I don't have any hobbies and I should be taking up knitting and crocheting, or I should paint, or I always love doing ceramics and I don't do it, or I should be gardening, or I should be more spontaneous and I should have more adventures or whatever other requirements you think you should be doing for fun, for hobbies, for your personal like enjoyment. Put that down. Okay, how do you feel just looking at this list? Ragey. That's a great word. Yeah, I feel ragey too. Exhausted and overwhelmed. Yeah. Like it's impossible. It is. Overwhelmed, panicked. Mhm. Yeah. I mean, that's really the point of this exercise. Like, if you do nothing else, just seeing it in black and white, getting it out of your head and onto a paper is so powerful because in your own brain, it seems rational. It seems like, yeah, these are all things that, are responsible adults. But on paper, it is an absolute impossibility for any human being. It doesn't matter if you have 100 hours in a day. Yes, this is how am I going to add kids to this when I can't keep it together for myself and my partner? Yeah, the thing is that even for yourself and your partner, when you add kids, or if you oh, by the way, I didn't even put pets. I'm sure lots of you have pets and you have to do tons of things for your pets. Like it's never ending. Like even if you see for me, I'll just think of like, oh, there's other things I have requirements for myself because yeah, Danielle says, like, of course it's exhausting and of course we can't do it all. Yeah, it becomes so glaring. Like, this is insane that I'm trying to hold myself to this standard. But when I'm going through my day to day life, what happens, and if you guys have been around me a while, you know, like one of the reasons like I focus you on one goal is because if you have all these other goals, your brain's just beating you up for all the stuff you didn't. Like, even if you are doing something great, it's the same thing with these lists. No matter what you do, your brain will be like, yeah, but you didn't work out. We're so lazy. We never do anything. And the house is a mess and we didn't pick it up. And we didn't call that friend from college that we said we're going to be calling, for the last month. It's just on our brain, even though, I kept my kids alive and I fed everybody and I've gone to grocery shopping and the house is still intact and I did my job and I did all of these things every single day. My brain is like, yeah, but you should have done X, Y, Z. And there's, we don't have the time right now to get into it. Tons of studies, tons of anecdotes and facts that have shown like, working mothers now spend twice as much time with their kids as stay-at-home mothers in the 1960s. Like the standard has become absurd. Back in the day when women were at home, like the reason men could be so successful is because there was somebody that was doing all of this stuff for them. They didn't have to do all of this. They only got to do the work stuff and then come home and have like a drink or whatever. It wasn't that you were also playing with your kids and taking them to 14 soccer practices and sports, then taking the dog for a walk and cleaning the house and making sure you spend quality time with your partner and working out 5 times. Nobody, there wasn't gyms. Gyms wasn't a thing until like the 1980s. Like in the 1970s, I mean, there was for bodybuilders, but nobody had a gym membership. Nobody was running in the streets, right? I just want you to understand that like all we do is continue to put like, oh yeah, you're holding all this stuff. You're doing women, great. You got the right to work. That's great. You also have to do all this stuff still. You still have to act like you're a stay-at-home mom. You still have to cook everything organic and you still have to, while you also act like a, girl boss and you make all this money. It's not as though we're like, oh, of course, now that you work, you're not going to be able to maintain a house by yourself. It's like, no, do that. And then also, your mental health. You should be meditating, gratitude, right? Oh, we should also add. That's why all these people have like 47-step morning routines and 57. Oh, I didn't even put all the skin for the women, all the beauty standard shit that you have to do. Have you done your night serums? And it's utterly exhausting. And I want you to see it. And I want you to like keep that list next to you for the next week. Actually, like this wasn't going to be part of the exercise. I want you to just keep adding as you see, like it comes to mind. The day when you start hearing like, oh, I should have taken a 5-minute meditation break. Write that down. Like I should do this. This is what I have. This is the rule I have for myself that I should do this. I'm not saying there isn't some stuff we're going to get to that you're going to want to keep, but to have this expectation that those shoulds is like a dark cloud looming over us all day, every day. And what's really harmful is that we're not getting to them anyways. It's not like we're doing it. We're balancing as many as we can, but we're dropping a lot of balls. And yet we're just like, well, but I'm just going to have this hovering over me, even though it's not getting in. And so the same concept that I have for my goals when I say like, just don't set the goal. And I know people are like, well, but I need to work out and I need to be out. And it's like, okay, but if we're not going to get to it, let's at least just decide consciously, this year, we're not going to get to this, This season, this chapter, we're not doing that right. I will slowly add it in. Maybe if I get to it, maybe if I have time, I'll read a self-help book or I'll read for 10 minutes or whatever other thing I should be doing. But that is not a priority, right? So one of the things I truly want you guys to understand is that the reason that we are all so burned out is we are trying to be everything to everyone. You are not the perfect person. You are not going to be some productivity maven that uses every minute of your day and never needs to rest and just like veg out. That's just not going to happen. And so if you ever want a chance of beating burnout, you have to start here and you have to eliminate sleep. You have to figure out what is a priority and what is not. And you have to know the difference. Like what is a need to, I have to do, and what is like, not this season. I'm not adding it in. Even for just a little bit of time to give my brain a little bit of a break to say like, hey, for 6 months, I'm not going to about this anymore. Says it feels like there's a mourning process with the release of tasks. There is. You know why? It's not the release of tasks, it's the release of the identity of the person that you thought you were going to be when you had those tasks, right? It's like, I thought if I do this, I'm going to be this. It's like this perfectionist fantasy we have about ourselves that, like, I'm going to be the perfect wife and the perfect employee and the perfect businessman and perfect health nut. And this is the year everything is going to come together and I'm going to be this responsible adult. And when I'm actively saying, like, you know what, I'm just not going to work out, I'm just going to, like, take that off my list. Like, I haven't been doing it, so I might as well just say I'm not doing it. Then it's like, oh, but I'm unhealthy. I'm admitting I'm an unhealthy person. Whereas, like, before there was like this hope that maybe I was going to become this like health fitness person. And now I have to grieve that. And that's fine. You do have to. There is a relief. There is a negative emotion. If it was easy, we would all do it. So it's like, yes, there is going to be negative emotion. There's going to be a little bit of like, oh, I don't know. As we go through this next part of this exercise, which I have to get to, I know I said I was going to make this short, but I'm incapable of not talking. When you are releasing it, you're going to have to sit with those negations. And we're going to talk about this later in classes coming up. Like, you're going to have guilt because you've told yourself you should do it for so long, and we'll deal with the guilt in one of the next classes. But just trust me, you have to start being very honest about what is something I have to and what do I not actually have to do. Okay. I'm just going to go with the questions before I get to the exercise. It says, my brain justifies this by saying I'll feel better when. Any direction there. Yeah. Again, if you were going to feel better, you would have felt better right now. You would have done it and you would have felt better. So you just have to remind yourself, right? You think you'll feel better then because that you will be able to think better thoughts about yourself. Like, I'm so proud of myself that I now exercise or my house is clean. You know, it's like, who am I when this happens? Like, what do I get to think about myself when I do all of the things I think I should do, when I'm a good parent? You can think those thoughts now. You can be proud of yourself. I'm going to give you a mantra. I'm so proud of myself for taking care of me. I am, by giving up this shit, I love that I'm giving myself time to rest. You get to think whatever you want right now without having to do all this to-do. This to-do list will drive you into the ground. And I think the sooner you accept that, like, you will never be able to be everything to everyone without being burned out. So if you don't want to be burned out, if you want to be a person that actually enjoys their life, that can be calm, that can, you have to go through the, like, initial period where it's going to feel like shit because you've told yourself that you are only good enough when you're doing all these things. You have to sit with that to rewire your brain to, like, use the new mantras to say, like, hey, I don't need to do this. It's fine if my house isn't picked up. There's no morality in having an organized home. It just, right now I have young kids and it's going to be a mess. And that's okay with me. I'm still a good mom. I'm proud of myself for prioritizing my kids' enjoyment and, calmness rather than yelling at everybody to clean the house. You go through that and start believing it. It says, ugh, not the night serums that were wildly expensive that I never used because there's no perfect nighttime routine in this world of mine. You and me both, sister. My entire counter is I'm like, why do I keep buying these things? I'm never going to use them. That was one thing I was like, listen, I know I need to put on these creams and I'm not going to do it. My face is just going to be what it's going to be. We're going to have to all get over it. I think everybody's fine. The world hasn't swallowed me up yet. So, okay. So here's what I want you to do. Here's the exercise for today. I mean, this was part of this. This is the longest part, is writing it down. And you're going to go fill it. And then you're going to do what we call the purge, okay? And you're going to think about, it's going to be 3 different steps. The first step, you're going to go through and you're going to eliminate. I want you to go back through this list and I want you to cross off everything that does not need to happen. It is not a have to. I don't have to do it. Okay? There actually should be very few things. There's only very few things you have to do. You have to cook like people, or you have to have food somehow. There's certain things that you're going to want to do that are like have to's to kind of keep things in order. You have to maybe take your kids to like a soccer practice, but do they have to be in 4 different sports? Or, you get to decide what are going to be like for your work. You obviously do have to do some tasks. You're going to have to figure out, like, what is it that they pay me to do? This is a transactional relationship. What do I have to do? And what are all these other wild things that I think I should be doing that I'm just not going to do? I'm going to cross them out. The first step is eliminate. The second step delegate? What are some of these things that I think I have to do that I don't actually have to do? Right? What is something at work that I can give to a coworker or that I can outsource so that, I don't know, with work, it might be trickier. At home, what can I have my kids help with? What can I have my partner with that I've taken on, but it shouldn't all be the brunt of my work, right? What are things that I can delegate to, what are things that I can pay people, I can outsource, right? So delegation can be like, you know what? Laundry just takes too much time every week and it costs $30 outsourced to a laundry service. I'm just going to give our a laundry every week. So I don't have that 2 hours or 3 hours or however much it takes me. I get that time back. Not to be filled. This is the problem is that when we do productivity hacks, when we have this laundry list, we fill it in with something else. So it's like, okay, I don't have laundry now. Now I have all this time to do the 40 other things I'm supposed to be doing. Part of this is to eliminate, to say like, oh, I have some breathing room. I have some open space. I have some time to think. I have some time to rest. I have some time to go for a walk. I have time to slow down. I have time to like get my nervous back on like off of fight or flight so I can actually get out of burnout. Okay. So the goal is not to get rid of this and then fill it in with other stuff. So you eliminate, you delegate, and then you review and you look at what you have left that you have to do. And I want you to think about, is that even possible? Because if it's not, you're going to repeat. You're going to go back and might take a couple rounds. So in the beginning, it's going to be hard to eliminate a lot of stuff. And then you're going to go back and be like, no, I probably could get rid of these things too. I'm not saying you're getting rid of it forever. I'm not saying it's not something that you can't do once in a while, or it's not something that, maybe you want to clutter your house and you're going to be like, you know what, this is going to be a once a year thing. And I'm not going to think about it every other month. I'm just going to set it for December. We're going to declutter. Right? And the rest of the year, we're going to cross it off. And we're not going to hold it over our head that we're still have to be in this decluttering mode. So you're just going to repeat this process until you get that list to a place that's like, yeah, I can do this every week and still have time for joy and rest and myself and breathing and just calm and like open space. This is the only way. I promise you. I wish I could teach you a way to be super productive and do all this stuff, but I can't. And so we're just going to have to start getting rid of things. And like I said, society isn't going to do it for us. Society is going to keep giving new standards. It's going to be new beauty standards and new things you have to keep up with and new things that moms have to do, or, now that you're at this age, you're going to have to do, or now that you're, whatever it is, or the new, kind of like girl boss moment or whatever. It's always going to come up. And it's, unless you protect yourself and you reject it and you say like, no, I'm not doing a morning routine. I'm not doing a nighttime routine. I'm not doing 75 hard. I'm not doing all this other bullshit that you guys are like stuffing down my throat. I'm not doing any of that. They will keep stuffing it down your throat. So it is going to feel hard because everybody has bought into this. And so it's hard to reject what is the norm, right? Where it's like this badge of honor to be busy and just running at high speeds. And then everybody wonders why they're so miserable all the time. And so you don't have to eliminate it all this week. I want you to see it. I want you to just look at it, and I want you to be more aware all week when the shoulds start coming in. I want you to like catch it. Be like, that's another thing I think I should do. I just want you to see how absurd it is and start letting it go. Like, no, I'm doing enough. It's fine. What I've done is okay. What I do at work is fine. I'm not getting fired. Everything is working. Let go of a lot of the shoulds. And I think that can create a lot of mental space to be able to just be. So that's what I have for you today. I went over a little bit what I wanted to, but hopefully it wasn't too long. Lizzie says, flexes his hand after copious notes. Thanks, Goalie. This was helpful. Welcome. Any other final questions for this week before we come back next week for our next exercise? No questions. Perfect. My friends, go forth and purge all the bullshit in your life that you don't need to do in order to have a wonderfully joyful, restful, beautiful life. Honestly, the less you have to do, the better your life is going to be. So start rejecting what society tells and do less. Yes. So I don't know if you guys know, but my nieces call me Team Do Less. And they like want to go on vacation with me because my sister and my brother-in-law like are like super adventurers and like we'll get up and like do 400 activities all throughout the day. And I go on vacation and I don't leave the couch. And so my nieces are constantly like, please let us be on Team Do. Please take us on your conversations with you. So I love that you said that. I do less, like that's my name. And I wear it with pride. Oh my God. I love nothing more than doing less than everybody else. That's a mantra you get to keep. It actually has become a source of pride for me. And I love it. And it doesn't feel awful. It feels great. And I'm more rested than everybody in my family jealous of me, but they can't do it for some reason. So I want you to not be like them and listen to me. All right, my friends. I'll see you next week. Bye.